Hello, and welcome to today's podcast. I'm Adam, and as always, I'm here with the brilliant Sophia. Today, we're diving into a topic that has the power to change your mindset, your day, and honestly, your entire life. We're talking about the power of positive self-talk.
That's right, Adam. You know, we all have that little voice in our heads, the one that's constantly talking, evaluating, and sometimes even criticizing. The way we speak to ourselves shapes how we view the world, how we handle challenges, and even how we achieve our goals. But the question is that voice building us up or tearing us down?
Exactly. And here's the thing. Most people don't even realize how much their self-talk impacts them. Think about it. How many times have you doubted yourself, told yourself you're not good enough, or focused more on your flaws than your strengths? What if you could flip that script?
Flipping that script is exactly what we're going to explore today. By the end of this episode, you'll not only understand what positive self-talk is, but also learn how to cultivate it, the science behind why it works, and how to use it to unlock your full potential. And trust us, this isn't just motivational fluff. It's practical, actionable, and life-changing.
So whether you're struggling with self-doubt, looking to boost your confidence, or simply curious about how to create a more positive mindset, this episode is for you. Let's get started. All right, let's dive into our first segment. What is self-talk? Now, self-talk is something we all experience, but it's often so automatic that we don't even notice it. Simply put, self-talk is the inner dialogue that runs through your mind all day long. It's the voice that reacts to what's happening around you, processes your thoughts, and sometimes makes snap judgments about you or your abilities. And here's the thing, this voice can either be your greatest cheerleader or your harshest critic.
Exactly, Adam. It's like having a 24/7 conversation with yourself, and the tone of that conversation matters more than we realize. Positive self-talk is when this inner voice supports, motivates, and uplifts you. For example, when you're facing a challenge, positive self-talk might say, "You've got this. You've handled tough situations before, and you'll get through this one too." On the flip side, negative self-talk tears you down. It might sound like, "You'll never figure this out. You're not smart enough or capable enough." And, as you can imagine, the kind of self-talk you engage in can have a profound impact on your mindset and actions.
Absolutely. Think about this. If a friend constantly criticized you, pointed out your flaws, and doubted your abilities, how would that make you feel? You'd probably want to distance yourself from that friend, right? But here's the catch. You can't walk away from your inner voice. It's always with you. That's why it's so important to pay attention to what it's saying. Is it helping you or holding you back? Is it encouraging you to grow, or is it keeping you stuck?
And Adam, that's such a powerful point because most of us don't even realize how often we talk to ourselves negatively. It's like background noise that we've gotten so used to that we stop noticing it. But here's the thing, just because it's automatic doesn't mean it's unchangeable. Self-talk is a habit, and like any habit, it can be reshaped. The first step is awareness, paying attention to that inner dialogue and identifying whether it's positive, negative, or maybe even a mix of both.
Exactly. And self-talk doesn't just stay in your head, it influences your emotions, your behavior, and even the way others perceive you. For example, if you're constantly telling yourself, "I'm not good enough," you'll start to believe it. And that belief can show up in the way you speak, the way you act, and the opportunities you go after, or don't go after. On the other hand, positive self-talk can give you the courage to take risks, try new things, and bounce back from failure.
And there's something else to consider. Self-talk isn't just about the big moments in life, like landing a job or overcoming a setback. It's also about the small, everyday moments. When you look in the mirror, what do you say to yourself? When you make a mistake, how do you respond internally? Those small, seemingly insignificant thoughts add up and shape the way you view yourself and the world.
That's such an important point, Sophia. Self-talk is like planting seeds. Positive thoughts plant seeds of confidence, resilience, and growth, while negative thoughts plant seeds of doubt, fear, and limitation. The question is, which seeds are you watering? Because whatever you focus on is what will grow.
Exactly, Adam. And that's why understanding self-talk is so crucial. It's the foundation of your mindset. In this episode, we're going to explore not only how to recognize your self-talk, but also how to actively shift it toward positivity. And trust me, once you start making that shift, you'll be amazed at the ripple effects it can have in every area of your life.
All right, let's jump into our next segment, the science behind positive self-talk. Now, I know some of you might be wondering, isn't this just a feel-good concept? Does it really make a difference? And the answer is a resounding yes. There's actually a lot of science that backs up the idea that the way we talk to ourselves has a tangible impact on our brains, our emotions, and even our physical health.
That's so true, Adam. Let's start with the brain. When we engage in positive self-talk, we activate the brain's reward system, specifically the release of feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. These chemicals help us feel more motivated, focused, and resilient. In contrast, negative self-talk can activate the brain's stress response, leading to the release of cortisol, which is often referred to as the stress hormone. Over time, elevated cortisol levels can take a toll on your mental and physical health.
Exactly, Sophia. And there's also something called neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to change and adapt. When we repeatedly engage in positive self-talk, we're essentially training our brain to form new neural pathways that support optimism, confidence, and resilience. Think of it like carving a new trail through a forest. The more you walk that trail, the more defined it becomes. Over time, positive self-talk can become your brain's default setting.
And let's not forget how self-talk influences your emotions and behaviors. Studies have shown that people who practice positive self-talk are better equipped to handle stress, bounce back from failure, and approach challenges with a growth mindset. One fascinating study even found that athletes who used positive self-talk performed better under pressure compared to those who didn't. It's not just about feeling good. It's about equipping yourself with the mental tools to succeed.
Right. And it's not just about performance either. Positive self-talk can also impact your physical health. For example, research has shown that people with an optimistic outlook tend to have lower blood pressure, stronger immune systems, and even longer lifespans. Why? Because positive self-talk helps reduce stress, which is a major factor in so many health issues.
Another interesting aspect is how positive self-talk affects relationships. When you're kinder to yourself, it often translates into being more compassionate and understanding toward others. This creates a ripple effect in your interactions, whether it's with family, friends, or colleagues. So, in a way, practicing positive self-talk isn't just a gift to yourself, it's a gift to everyone around you.
That's such a good point, Sophia. And I think it's important to note that this isn't about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. Positive self-talk doesn't mean you never acknowledge challenges or setbacks. Instead, it's about how you frame those challenges. Instead of saying, "I'll never figure this out," you can say, "This is tough, but I'm capable of finding a solution." That shift in perspective can make all the difference.
And Adam, it's not just adults who can benefit from this. Positive self-talk is also incredibly powerful for kids and teenagers. Teaching them to use affirming language early on can help build their confidence and resilience, setting them up for success in the long term. Imagine growing up with an internal voice that supports you rather than criticizes you. How transformative would that be?
Absolutely. The science behind positive self-talk is clear. It's not just about feeling good in the moment. It's about rewiring your brain, managing stress, and building the foundation for long-term success and happiness. And the best part? It's something anyone can learn and practice no matter where they're starting from. All right, now that we've explored what self-talk is and the science behind it, let's move on to one of the most exciting parts of today's discussion, the benefits of positive self-talk. I mean, who doesn't want to know how this simple practice can change their life, right? So, Sophia, let's dive in. What are some of the most impactful benefits of positive self-talk?
Let's start with one of the biggest benefits: improved mental health. Positive self-talk has been shown to reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. When you replace negative self-defeating thoughts with uplifting ones, you're essentially giving your brain permission to focus on solutions rather than problems. It's like switching from a stormy mindset to a sunny one. It won't erase every challenge, but it makes navigating them so much easier.
That's such a good point. And it's not just about mental health, it also boosts your confidence and self-esteem. Think about it. If your inner voice is constantly telling you, you can do this, or you've got what it takes, you start to believe it. That belief fuels your actions, and as you achieve more, your confidence grows even stronger. It's a self-reinforcing cycle of positivity.
Exactly, Adam. And there's another benefit that doesn't get talked about enough: better problem-solving skills. When you engage in positive self-talk, you're more likely to view challenges as opportunities rather than insurmountable obstacles. For example, instead of thinking, "This is too hard, I'll never figure it out," positive self-talk helps you say, "This is tricky, but I'm resourceful and I can find a way." That mindset shift makes a huge difference in how you approach and resolve problems.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about stress management. When you use positive self-talk, you're better equipped to handle pressure and setbacks. For instance, if you're in a high-stress situation, telling yourself, "I can handle this one step at a time," can calm your nerves and keep you focused. Contrast that with negative self-talk, which often amplifies stress by making you feel overwhelmed or inadequate.
Another area where positive self-talk shines is in relationships. When you speak to yourself with kindness and understanding, you naturally extend that same grace to others. You're less likely to be judgmental or defensive because you're coming from a place of self-assurance. And let's face it, who doesn't want to be around someone who radiates positivity and encouragement?
True, and let's talk about productivity and goal achievement. Positive self-talk keeps you motivated and focused on the bigger picture. For example, when you hit a roadblock while working on a project, positive self-talk reminds you why you started and encourages you to keep going. It's like having a personal coach in your head, cheering you on every step of the way.
And there's a physical health aspect too. Studies have shown that people who engage in positive self-talk tend to have lower blood pressure, stronger immune systems, and even quicker recovery times after illness or injury. Why? Because your thoughts and emotions influence your body's stress response. When you're kind to yourself, you're literally giving your body a break from constant stress.
Wow, that's incredible. So, just to recap, positive self-talk improves your mental health, boosts your confidence, enhances problem-solving skills, helps manage stress, strengthens relationships, increases productivity, and even benefits your physical health. It's like an all-in-one life upgrade.
All right, let's get into the next segment: common negative self-talk traps. This one's super important because, let's face it, even when we know how powerful positive self-talk can be, it's easy to fall into those old negative habits. So, Sophia, why do you think these traps are so common? Great question, Adam. Negative self-talk often stems from deeply ingrained beliefs or habits. For many of us, these patterns start in childhood. Maybe you were criticized a lot, or perhaps you internalized messages from school, society, or even social media. Over time, these negative thoughts become automatic, like a broken record playing in the background. And unless we become aware of them, they'll keep influencing how we see ourselves and the world.
That's so true. And these traps can take many forms, right? One big one is catastrophizing. This is when you automatically assume the worst possible outcome in any situation. For example, you make a small mistake at work and immediately think, "I'm going to get fired, and my career is over." It's not rational, but in the moment, it feels very real.
Exactly, Adam. Another common trap is all or nothing thinking. This is when you see things as either perfect or a complete failure. There's no in between. Let's say you're trying to eat healthier, and one day you indulge in a slice of cake. Instead of thinking, "It's okay, I'll get back on track tomorrow," you tell yourself, "I've ruined my diet. I might as well give up." That black and white mindset can be so damaging.
Yes, and here's one I think a lot of people will relate to: personalizing. This is when you blame yourself for things that aren't entirely your fault. For instance, if a group project doesn't go well, you might think, "It's all my fault," even though it was a team effort and there were other factors at play. Personalizing puts an unfair burden on your shoulders.
That's such a common one, Adam. Another trap is labeling. This is when you take one mistake or failure and use it to define yourself. For example, if you fail a test, you might think, "I'm so stupid," rather than, "I didn't study enough this time." Labeling can be incredibly limiting because it makes you believe that your worth is tied to a single moment or action.
Absolutely. And then there's mind reading. This is when you assume you know what others are thinking, usually in a negative way. For example, you might walk into a meeting and think, "Everyone here thinks I'm incompetent." The truth is, you don't know what they're thinking, but that negative assumption affects how you show up in the room.
Another big one is should statements. These are those rigid, unrealistic expectations we place on ourselves like, "I should always be productive," or "I should never make mistakes." When we don't meet these impossible standards, we end up feeling like failures, even when we're doing just fine.
And let's not forget comparison traps. Social media has made this one so much worse. You see someone's highlight reel online, perfect vacation, perfect job, perfect family, and you start thinking, "Why isn't my life like that?" What we forget is that we're comparing our behind the scenes with someone else's curated highlight reel.
That's such a powerful point, Adam. The tricky thing about these traps is that they feel so natural when we're in them. They're like mental habits we don't even question. But the good news is, once you recognize these patterns, you can start to challenge them and replace them with healthier, more constructive thoughts.
All right, now that we've identified those pesky negative self-talk traps, let's move on to something empowering: how to cultivate positive self-talk. This is where the magic happens, right, Sophia? So, where do we even begin?
You can't change what you don't notice. Start by paying attention to your inner dialogue. When you catch yourself thinking something negative, don't judge it, just acknowledge it. For example, if you're thinking, "I always mess things up," stop and notice, there's that negative thought again. Awareness is like turning on the light in a dark room. It helps you see what you're working with.
That's so true. And once you're aware, the next step is to challenge those negative thoughts. Ask yourself, is this thought true? Is it helpful? Is there a more constructive way to look at this? For example, instead of saying, "I'm terrible at public speaking," you could reframe it as, "I'm still learning to improve my public speaking skills, and every experience is helping me get better." It's about shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset.
Exactly, Adam. And here's another tip. Practice gratitude. Gratitude can be a game changer for your inner dialogue. When you focus on what's going well in your life, it becomes harder for negative thoughts to take over. At the end of each day, take a moment to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. It could be as simple as enjoying a nice cup of coffee or having a productive meeting at work.
That's such a powerful habit. And let's not forget about the importance of positive affirmations. These are short, empowering statements you can repeat to yourself daily. For example, "I am capable," "I am worthy of success," or "I can handle anything that comes my way." When you say these affirmations regularly, you start to reprogram your mind to believe them.
Yes. And if affirmations feel awkward at first, try visualization. Imagine yourself succeeding in whatever area you're working on. See yourself confident, calm, and thriving. Visualization is a way to practice positive self-talk in your mind, and it's incredibly effective because your brain starts to associate those positive images with reality.
Here's another practical tip. Surround yourself with positivity. The people, media, and environments you engage with daily can influence your inner voice. If you're around supportive, uplifting people, their energy rubs off on you. On the flip side, if you're constantly exposed to negativity, it's much harder to maintain a positive mindset. So, be mindful of your social circle and what you consume.
That's a great point, Adam. And for those moments when negative thoughts creep in despite your best efforts, try the rubber band technique. Wear a rubber band on your wrist, and when you catch yourself thinking something negative, gently snap it as a physical reminder to interrupt the thought. Then immediately replace it with something positive or neutral. It's a simple but effective way to break the cycle.
Love that. And finally, be patient with yourself. Cultivating positive self-talk isn't about being perfect. It's about making progress. Some days will be easier than others, and that's okay. The key is consistency. Even small shifts in your inner dialogue can lead to big changes over time.
Absolutely. Positive self-talk is like building a muscle. It takes time and effort, but the results are worth it. And the beauty is, the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. It starts to feel less like something you're forcing and more like your default way of thinking.
Well said, Sophia. So, to sum it up, cultivating positive self-talk starts with awareness, challenging negative thoughts, practicing gratitude, using affirmations, visualizing success, surrounding yourself with positivity, and being patient. Relationships and teamwork. You don't want to miss this one. All right, let's dive into real-life success stories. Nothing drives a point home better than hearing about real people who've transformed their lives using positive self-talk. So, Sophia, why don't you kick things off with a story that's close to your heart?
Absolutely, Adam. Let me share the story of Sarah, a college student I worked with during a mentorship program. Sarah was brilliant but plagued by self-doubt. She'd constantly tell herself, "I'm not smart enough to be here," or "I'm going to fail my exams." This negative self-talk was affecting her performance and confidence. During one of our sessions, we worked on identifying her strengths and flipping those negative thoughts into empowering ones. She started using affirmations like, "I am capable of handling challenges," and visualizing herself acing her exams. Over time, her mindset shifted. Not only did Sarah graduate with honors, but she also gained the confidence to pursue her dream of becoming a data scientist. Today, she's thriving in her career, and she credits positive self-talk as a turning point in her journey.
That's so inspiring, Sophia. It's amazing how a mindset shift can completely change someone's trajectory. I have a story too. This one's about a colleague of mine, Mike. Mike was a talented sales manager, but he struggled with public speaking. Before every presentation, his inner dialogue was full of self-criticism. What if I mess up? What if they think I'm boring? One day, I suggested he try a simple exercise. Before his next presentation, he wrote down 3 positive statements about himself, like, "I am knowledgeable, I communicate clearly, and I'm engaging." He read them out loud every morning for 2 weeks. When the day of the presentation came, he walked in with confidence and nailed it. Now, public speaking is one of his strengths, and he often talks about how changing his self-talk made all the difference.
That's fantastic, Adam. And these stories aren't just about individuals. They can also involve teams. I remember reading about a corporate team that was underperforming because of a toxic environment filled with blame and criticism. They brought in a coach who taught them how to use positive language not only with themselves but with each other. The team adopted practices like starting meetings with affirmations and reframing failures as learning opportunities. Over the next 6 months, their productivity and morale soared. They went from being one of the lowest performing teams to one of the top performing ones in the company. It's a great example of how positive self-talk can create a ripple effect in group settings.
Absolutely, Sophia. And here's a quick story from the sports world. Have you heard of Michael Phelps, the legendary swimmer? His coach revealed that Phelps used visualization and positive self-talk as part of his training routine. Every night, he would mentally rehearse his races, imagining himself hitting every stroke perfectly and winning. That mental conditioning helped him stay focused and calm under pressure, even when unexpected challenges arose. It's no surprise he became one of the most decorated Olympians of all time.
I love that story, Adam. And it just goes to show that positive self-talk isn't limited to one area of life. Whether it's academics, career, relationships, or sports, it has the power to unlock potential and open doors you didn't think were possible.
Absolutely, Sophia. And for our listeners, we hope these stories show that no matter where you are in life, you have the power to rewrite your narrative through positive self-talk. All right, listeners, let's move into a segment that I think you'll find incredibly valuable: practical exercises for daily life. We've talked about the benefits and science of positive self-talk, but how do we actually make it a daily habit? Sophia, where should someone start?
Great question, Adam. The first step is to build self-awareness. Here's an exercise. Keep a thought journal. Throughout the day, jot down moments when you notice your inner voice speaking. Is it positive? Negative? Neutral? At the end of the day, review your notes and see if you can identify any patterns. Awareness is key because you can't change what you don't notice.
I love that exercise, Sophia. And once you've identified those patterns, the next step is to challenge negative thoughts. For example, let's say you catch yourself thinking, "I'm terrible at presentations." Write that thought down, then ask yourself, is this 100% true? What evidence do I have to support or refute this thought? Usually, you'll find it's not as black and white as you initially believed. Replace it with a more balanced thought like, "I'm improving my presentation skills every time I practice."
Exactly. And here's another one. Affirmations. Start your day by looking in the mirror and saying 3 positive statements about yourself. It could be as simple as, "I am capable," "I am worthy," or "I can handle challenges with grace." If this feels uncomfortable at first, that's okay. It's all part of the process. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes.
That's such a great habit, Sophia. And I'd add visualization to the mix. Spend a few minutes every morning or evening visualizing yourself succeeding at something important to you. Picture it vividly, how it looks, feels, even sounds. For example, if you're preparing for a big meeting, imagine yourself walking in confidently, delivering your points clearly, and receiving positive feedback. Visualization primes your brain for success.
Absolutely. Another exercise I recommend is creating a positivity playlist. Fill it with songs or podcasts that uplift and inspire you. When you feel negativity creeping in, listen to your playlist to shift your mindset. Sometimes a little external boost can make all the difference.
Great tip, Sophia. And let's not forget about gratitude journaling. At the end of each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big. Small moments count too, like a kind word from a colleague or enjoying a peaceful walk. Gratitude rewires your brain to focus on the positive, which naturally enhances your self-talk.
Yes. And if you're someone who likes structure, try setting daily self-talk goals. For instance, commit to replacing 5 negative thoughts with positive ones every day. You can even make it a game. Keep a tally and reward yourself when you reach your goal. It's a fun way to stay consistent.
Another practical exercise is using positive post-it notes. Write encouraging messages like, "You've got this," or "Every challenge is an opportunity," and stick them on your mirror, computer, or anywhere you'll see them throughout the day. These little reminders can have a big impact over time.
That's such a simple yet powerful idea, Adam. And for those who prefer a digital approach, consider downloading apps designed for positive affirmations or mental well-being. Many of them send you daily reminders to keep your mindset on track.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the importance of self-compassion. Whenever you catch yourself being overly critical, pause and ask, "What would I say to a friend in this situation?" Then, say that to yourself. Treating yourself with kindness is one of the most effective ways to foster positive self-talk.
So true, Adam. The beauty of these exercises is that they're adaptable. You can mix and match them to fit your lifestyle. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes to speak to yourself with encouragement and positivity.
Well said, Sophia. These exercises are simple but transformative, and the best part is, you can start today. All right, folks, we've talked a lot about the power of positive self-talk and the exercises that can help make it a part of your daily life. But let's be real for a second. It's not always easy. We all face challenges in shifting our mindset. So, in this segment, we're going to dive into overcoming challenges in practicing positive self-talk. Sophia, what do you think is the biggest challenge when it comes to maintaining positive self-talk?
That's a great question, Adam. I think one of the biggest challenges is breaking old habits. Many of us have been speaking negatively to ourselves for years. Those habits are deeply ingrained in our minds, and it takes time and effort to change them. When you've spent a long time believing negative thoughts like, "I'm not good enough" or "I'll never succeed," it can be hard to replace them with positive affirmations.
Right, it's almost like a default setting. So how can we push past those old patterns and rewire our thinking?
One technique is to acknowledge the negative thought without judgment and then choose to replace it. For instance, let's say you catch yourself thinking, "I'm terrible at this." Instead of letting that thought spiral, pause and say, "Okay, I'm having that thought, but it doesn't define me. I'm still learning and growing, and I can improve with practice." By acknowledging the thought without getting stuck in it, you take away its power.
That's a great way to approach it. It's almost like creating a moment of separation between you and the negative thought. But what if someone feels like they're not seeing any results, even after practicing positive self-talk for a while?
That's a common challenge. You might feel like you're not making progress, and that can be discouraging. But it's important to remember that change takes time. Consistency is key. You may not see instant results, but the more you practice positive self-talk, the more natural it becomes. So, my advice would be to celebrate small wins along the way. Maybe you didn't completely erase a negative thought, but you were able to catch it sooner than last week. That's progress.
That's so true, Sophia. Small wins add up over time. Another challenge people face is when they have doubts about the authenticity of positive self-talk. Some may feel like, "I don't believe these affirmations. They feel fake." How do you deal with that?
I get that. It's common to feel skeptical at first. The trick is to start with affirmations that feel more authentic and believable. If "I am successful" feels too far-fetched, start with something like, "I am capable of making progress." The goal is to find affirmations that are believable and empowering to you in the moment. Over time, as your confidence grows, you can gradually expand those affirmations to be more aspirational.
That's really important, starting where you are. It's all about building momentum, and sometimes the challenge is simply remembering to practice self-talk in the heat of the moment, especially during stressful situations. Any tips for staying consistent?
Definitely. One thing I recommend is creating reminders throughout the day. For example, set alarms or notifications on your phone with positive messages or affirmations. You could also write your favorite affirmation on a sticky note and place it on your computer or mirror, something that you'll see multiple times a day. The more you see these positive cues, the easier it becomes to remember to practice positive self-talk, even during stressful times.
That's a great point, Sophia. Creating those reminders can make all the difference. Another challenge is when people start to compare themselves to others, which can quickly lead to negative self-talk. We see someone else achieving success and we think, "I'll never be as good as them." How do we combat this?
Comparison is definitely a trap, Adam. A key to overcoming this is focusing on your own journey. Everyone has different timelines and challenges. Instead of comparing, try focusing on your progress and what you've accomplished so far. Celebrate your growth, even if it's not exactly where you want to be yet. And remember, the only person you need to compete with is yourself. Positive self-talk helps you tune out that comparison and appreciate your unique path.
That's such an important reminder. It's all about self-compassion and remembering that your journey is valid, no matter how fast or slow it may feel. And finally, what about when negative self-talk creeps in during moments of failure or setbacks? That's often when we're hardest on ourselves.
Great question. Failure and setbacks are often viewed as the ultimate test for positive self-talk. In these moments, it's crucial to remember that failure is part of the process. Instead of saying, "I'm a failure," try saying, "I failed at this, but that doesn't mean I'm a failure. I've learned something valuable and I can do better next time." Use failure as a stepping stone to your growth rather than an obstacle.
Such an important mindset shift. So, in summary, it's all about being patient, consistent, and compassionate with yourself as you practice positive self-talk. It's okay to encounter challenges along the way. What matters is that you keep going and stay focused on your growth.
Exactly, Adam. Positive self-talk is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with time and practice. The more you work at it, the more natural it becomes.
Absolutely. So, listeners, if you've encountered any of these challenges or find yourself struggling with positive self-talk, just remember that it's a journey. You're not alone, and the fact that you're trying is already a huge step in the right direction. We're all in this together. All right. Now that we've explored how positive self-talk can boost our confidence and productivity, let's dive deeper into something even more crucial: its impact on mental health. We've mentioned before that self-talk can help us overcome stress, but today, we're going to explore just how deep of an impact positive self-talk has on our emotional and psychological well-being. It's not just about feeling better in the moment, right? It's about creating long-term mental resilience. Sophia, I know you're passionate about this. How would you say positive self-talk impacts mental health at a deeper level?
Absolutely, Adam. This is such an important topic. Positive self-talk isn't just something that helps you get through a tough moment or feel a bit better temporarily. It's a key factor in improving your mental health overall. Think about it. When we consistently engage in negative self-talk, constantly telling ourselves we're not good enough, we're doomed to fail, or that we're powerless, that feeds into feelings of hopelessness and helplessness. That kind of thinking is closely linked to anxiety, depression, and stress. The constant barrage of negativity creates a mental environment where it's harder to think clearly or feel at peace. But when you actively practice positive self-talk, it flips the script completely. You start creating an internal narrative that supports you rather than one that holds you back.
That's so true. It's like we're reprogramming our brain. By replacing negative thoughts with more constructive, supportive statements, we start to feel better, not just in the moment, but over the long haul. And when we're feeling supported by our own thoughts, we're better equipped to handle whatever life throws at us. So, in a way, positive self-talk doesn't just help with our emotions. It helps us manage our emotions better too, right?
Exactly. It's a process of rewiring how we respond to stress. When we practice positive self-talk, we don't just feel more confident in the moment. We train ourselves to approach challenges with a mindset of resilience and possibility, rather than fear or defeat. And over time, this becomes a habit. It's like developing a muscle. You're building emotional strength so that when difficult situations arise, whether it's a stressful deadline, a personal setback, or a global crisis, you've got this internal reservoir of positive self-talk to pull from. Instead of spiraling into worry, you can think, okay, this is tough, but I've handled tough situations before, and I can do it again. It's this shift that makes a huge difference.
So it's like the difference between feeling overwhelmed by life's challenges and being able to navigate them with calm and confidence. Positive self-talk doesn't remove the challenges, but it helps us approach them without letting them control us, right?
Exactly. And let's not forget how it impacts our physical health, too. Negative self-talk actually triggers the body's stress response. You know, when you're constantly thinking, I can't do this, your brain signals to your body that you're in danger, and that causes stress hormones like cortisol to flood your system. Over time, this can lead to chronic stress, which affects everything from sleep to immune function to cardiovascular health. But when you engage in positive self-talk, it calms the nervous system, reduces stress hormones, and boosts your immune system. It's like a reset for your body. Instead of reacting to stress by shutting down, you're able to handle it in a calm, controlled way.
So positive self-talk doesn't just boost your mental health. It actually makes your body healthier too. That's incredible. I've always thought of self-talk as something that's mostly about how we feel, but now I see it's about how we live in every way. By changing our internal narrative, we're not only changing how we feel emotionally, but how we respond physically to life's challenges.
Exactly, Adam. Positive self-talk becomes a powerful tool for managing stress and improving both mental and physical health. The best part is, it's within our control. We have the ability to shift how we respond to the world around us, and when we take charge of our self-talk, we're setting ourselves up for a healthier, more resilient future.
So, positive self-talk really is a foundation for a healthier mindset, but also for a healthier body. It's not just about feeling better today, it's about building long-term habits that support your well-being for the rest of your life.
Exactly. And remember, this is an ongoing practice. It's something you work on every day, and just like any other habit, it gets stronger the more you practice it. It's about choosing to speak to yourself like you would speak to a friend, kindly, patiently, and with encouragement. Over time, that inner voice becomes one of your biggest supporters.
All right, let's shift gears a bit and talk about how positive self-talk plays a role in one of the biggest areas of life for many people, the workplace. Whether you're climbing the corporate ladder, managing your own business, or working with a team, work can sometimes feel overwhelming. And that's where positive self-talk can really make a difference. Sophia, how would you say positive self-talk impacts someone's performance at work?
That's such an important point, Adam. Positive self-talk in the workplace is absolutely crucial because, let's be honest, work can be stressful. Deadlines, meetings, expectations, it all adds up, right? But how we talk to ourselves in those moments can determine how we handle the stress. If we're constantly telling ourselves, I'm not good enough for this, I can't handle this, or this is too much, it's going to have a huge impact on our productivity, confidence, and even our relationships with colleagues. On the other hand, when we replace those thoughts with positive self-talk like, I can do this, I've handled tough situations before, or I'm learning and growing, we're able to approach challenges with a more positive and confident mindset.
Yeah, I think people often underestimate how much of an effect their internal dialogue has on their external performance. Positive self-talk doesn't just make you feel good, it gives you the mental strength to tackle difficult tasks and handle challenges more effectively. When you're in a tough situation at work, your ability to keep calm, think clearly, and stay motivated is strongly influenced by what you're telling yourself in that moment. But here's the thing. How do we apply positive self-talk when the pressure is high, when you've got deadlines looming, or a difficult task on your plate?
That's a great question, Adam. In those situations, it's easy for our minds to spiral into negative thoughts. But it's exactly in those moments that positive self-talk can be your best tool. The first thing I'd suggest is recognizing the moment when negative thoughts creep in. When you catch yourself thinking things like, I'll never finish this on time, or I'm going to mess this up, that's your cue to take a step back and replace those thoughts with something more positive. It's not about ignoring the reality of the situation, it's about reframing it. For example, instead of thinking, I'm not going to finish this, you could say, this is a challenging task, but I've faced challenges before and made it through. I can figure this out.
I love that. Reframing is such a powerful technique. It's about shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, right? Instead of thinking, I'm not capable of handling this, you start thinking, this is an opportunity for me to grow. It makes a huge difference in how we approach work, and I think it also helps to focus on what we can control. In a work environment, there are so many factors outside our control, but positive self-talk helps us focus on what we can influence, our effort, attitude, and response to challenges.
Absolutely. And another key point is how positive self-talk helps us build resilience. In the workplace, not everything will go as planned. There will be setbacks, mistakes, or disappointments along the way. But when we practice positive self-talk, we build the resilience to bounce back from those setbacks. Instead of getting stuck in self-doubt or frustration, we can use positive self-talk to remind ourselves that mistakes are part of the learning process. For example, instead of thinking, "I failed," we can say, "This is a lesson, and I'll do better next time." That's how we keep moving forward.
Right. And it's so important for people to remember that self-talk in the workplace isn't just about personal motivation. It also affects how we interact with others. If you're constantly putting yourself down or doubting your abilities, that energy can affect how you communicate with coworkers or managers. But when you use positive self-talk, you come across as more confident, approachable, and solution-oriented. And in team environments, that can really influence how the whole team works together. A positive mindset is contagious.
Exactly. And here's something else. Positive self-talk can actually improve your decision-making skills at work. When we're under pressure, negative self-talk can cloud our judgment, making us doubt our decisions or second-guess ourselves. But when we engage in positive self-talk, we are more likely to trust our judgment and take confident action. It can help you cut through the noise and make more clear-headed decisions.
I love that. Trusting your judgment. At the end of the day, positive self-talk helps you trust yourself more. It's like a muscle that gets stronger the more you work at it, right? The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes, and the better you perform at work, because you're not constantly battling negative thoughts in the background.
Exactly. Positive self-talk builds self-confidence, improves decision-making, fosters better relationships with coworkers, and helps us stay focused and resilient through challenges. It's like an all-in-one productivity and well-being booster that we can all access simply by changing the way we talk to ourselves.
So, listeners, the next time you're facing a challenge at work, whether it's a tight deadline, a difficult project, or a tough conversation, remember to use positive self-talk. Instead of doubting yourself, tell yourself, "I've got this. I've faced challenges before, and I can handle this one too." Shift your mindset, and you'll not only improve your performance, but also enjoy a healthier, more balanced approach to your work. Now that we've discussed how positive self-talk impacts our work and personal growth, let's shift the focus to something equally important: our relationships. Positive self-talk can play a huge role in strengthening our bonds with others, whether that's with a partner, family, friends, or even colleagues. Sophia, how do you think positive self-talk influences our relationships?
Great question, Adam. The way we talk to ourselves has a direct effect on how we interact with others. When we're constantly telling ourselves negative things like, "I'm not good enough," or "I'm too much for people to handle," it creates a barrier between us and the people around us. But when we practice positive self-talk, we become more confident, more understanding, and more open to others. For example, when we think, "I am worthy of love and respect," or "I have the ability to resolve conflicts calmly," we project that energy into our relationships, which helps them grow stronger.
Yeah, it's all about self-awareness, right? Positive self-talk helps us become more aware of our worth, which then reflects in the way we treat others. When we feel secure in ourselves, we're less likely to be defensive or react negatively in situations. Instead, we can approach relationships with patience, kindness, and understanding. I mean, think about it. If you're constantly telling yourself you're not good enough, how are you going to feel about others accepting you? It creates a vicious cycle.
Exactly. It's all connected. When we engage in positive self-talk, we begin to believe in our worth and our ability to contribute to meaningful, healthy relationships. And this goes beyond just romantic relationships. It's also about friendships, family dynamics, and even professional connections. Think about it. If you're constantly doubting yourself, you might find it harder to communicate openly or assert your needs. But positive self-talk helps you trust yourself to speak up when needed and express your thoughts with confidence.
And I think one of the most important things is how positive self-talk helps us handle conflict. No relationship is without challenges, and conflict is inevitable. But the way we approach conflict, internally and externally, makes all the difference. If we're in the middle of a disagreement and we're telling ourselves, "I'm not good enough," or "I'm going to fail this conversation," we're more likely to get defensive or shut down. But with positive self-talk, we can remind ourselves, "I can handle this conversation," or "I can approach this conflict calmly and respectfully." That shift in mindset changes the entire dynamic of the conversation.
Absolutely. Positive self-talk helps us stay calm and emotionally grounded, which is key when navigating conflict. It also allows us to respond instead of reacting, which can be a game changer in relationships. For example, instead of thinking, "Why does this always happen to me?" or "They don't understand me," we can remind ourselves, "I can handle difficult conversations," or "We can work through this together." That mindset fosters collaboration and understanding rather than blame and frustration.
Right. And you know what else? Positive self-talk also helps with empathy. When we have a positive inner dialogue, we're more likely to be empathetic towards others. Instead of jumping to conclusions or assumptions, we can approach situations with an open heart and mind, allowing us to truly understand where the other person is coming from. It makes it easier to listen actively and offer support instead of getting defensive or judgmental.
Exactly. It's like this. When we're kind to ourselves, we naturally become more compassionate toward others. For instance, if a friend or partner is going through a tough time, instead of thinking, "I don't know how to help," or "What if they think I'm not supportive?" positive self-talk can remind us, "I have the ability to offer support," or "I am a good listener." This boosts our confidence in offering help and creates a stronger emotional bond with others.
That's such a great point. It's also important to remember that positive self-talk doesn't mean ignoring or avoiding our flaws. It's about accepting ourselves, imperfections and all, and recognizing that we're worthy of healthy, positive relationships. By embracing that mindset, we can foster better connections with the people around us.
Exactly. It's about self-acceptance. The more we practice positive self-talk, the more we are able to embrace ourselves fully, flaws and all, without judgment. This in turn allows us to be more accepting and understanding of others. It creates a safe space for vulnerability, which is crucial for building trust and intimacy in relationships.
And let's not forget how positive self-talk helps in maintaining boundaries. When we believe in our worth, we're better equipped to set healthy boundaries in relationships. We can confidently say no when we need to, without guilt or fear of rejection. This ensures that we're respecting ourselves and at the same time respecting others.
Exactly. And when we set healthy boundaries, it allows us to show up as our best selves in our relationships. We aren't overextending ourselves, and we aren't compromising our values. It's a win-win for everyone involved.
Now, we've explored a lot about how positive self-talk can impact our relationships and our day-to-day interactions, but let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture. How can positive self-talk actually shape our future? How can it be a powerful tool in achieving long-term success? Sophia, what do you think about the role of positive self-talk in our future goals and ambitions?
Great question, Adam. When we talk about shaping our future, we're really talking about mindset and the way we approach challenges, opportunities, and our own potential. Positive self-talk plays a huge role in this. It's about programming your mind to believe in your ability to achieve great things even when the road ahead looks uncertain or difficult. Think about it. If we're constantly telling ourselves that we can't do something, that we're not smart enough, or that success isn't for us, we limit our own potential. On the flip side, when we practice positive self-talk, we're basically telling ourselves, "I am capable, I can grow, I can succeed." That kind of mindset is what fuels progress.
Exactly. It's like laying the foundation for success. Positive self-talk shifts our perspective from fear and doubt to confidence and possibility. When you constantly affirm to yourself that you're capable, you start to see opportunities rather than obstacles. For example, let's say you want to pursue a new career or start a business. If your inner dialogue is filled with negativity, "I'm not qualified enough, I don't have enough experience," you're already setting yourself up to fail before you even begin. But with positive self-talk, you can reframe those thoughts into, "I have the skills to learn, I can seek out opportunities to grow, and I have the drive to succeed."
Right. And I think one of the most powerful ways positive self-talk impacts our future is by helping us build resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, and not every goal is easy to achieve. But when we have a mindset of positivity, we become more resilient in the face of challenges. Instead of giving up after a setback, we think, "This is a learning opportunity," or "I can try again, and I will get better." Positive self-talk helps us keep going when things get tough, which is often the difference between success and failure.
That's such an important point. Resilience is key. And it's not just about bouncing back from failure, it's also about maintaining motivation. When we have a growth mindset, which is supported by positive self-talk, we're more likely to stay motivated over the long term. We keep our eyes on the bigger picture, even when the smaller steps feel challenging or slow. By repeating affirmations like, "I am capable of achieving my dreams," or "Every day is a step closer to my goal," we're reinforcing the idea that our efforts matter and will eventually lead to success.
Exactly. And let's not forget how positive self-talk can also help with decision-making. When we're unsure about the next step in our career, relationships, or personal growth, positive self-talk encourages us to trust ourselves. It helps us believe that we have the wisdom and strength to make the right choices, even when we're faced with uncertainty. Instead of getting paralyzed by doubt, we approach decisions with confidence, knowing that we can handle whatever comes our way.
Absolutely. It's also about attracting opportunities. When you speak positively to yourself, it shows. You radiate confidence and people pick up on that. Whether you're in a professional setting or a personal one, that confidence attracts opportunities. Whether it's a new job offer, a promotion, or even a new friendship. Positive self-talk helps us put ourselves out there and take risks, which is often how great things happen. We start to believe that we deserve good things, and we're more willing to go after them.
That's right. And when we start believing in our own potential, we create a future that aligns with our dreams. Positive self-talk helps us visualize the success we want, which fuels the actions needed to get there. It creates a vision of possibility, which we then bring to life through our choices and actions. When we tell ourselves, "I can create the life I want," we take steps to make it a reality.
Exactly. It's about creating momentum. Positive self-talk doesn't just change the way we see ourselves, it also transforms the way we interact with the world. We start showing up differently, more confidently, more boldly, and more open to the opportunities that come our way. And all of this has a huge impact on our future.
And I think, Adam, that's where it gets really exciting. The more we practice positive self-talk, the more we begin to realize that we have the power to shape our own future. It's not about waiting for the right moment or for things to magically fall into place. It's about actively creating the future we want, step by step, thought by thought. Positive self-talk empowers us to take control of our lives and move forward with intention.
Absolutely, Sophia. It all comes down to the fact that our thoughts shape our reality. If we believe we can achieve our goals, we're more likely to take the necessary actions to make them happen. Positive self-talk helps us build a future where success, fulfillment, and happiness are not just possible. They're inevitable.
So, to wrap up, positive self-talk is a powerful tool that can empower us to shape our future. It helps us build resilience, stay motivated, make confident decisions, and attract opportunities. When we start practicing positive self-talk, we're actively designing the future we want to create.
Well, that wraps up today's discussion on the power of positive self-talk. We've covered so much ground today, from understanding what positive self-talk is to exploring its profound impact on our future. Sophia, this has been such a valuable conversation. I'm sure our listeners have a lot to reflect on.
Absolutely, Adam. It's been such an inspiring journey talking about how shifting our internal dialogue can really shape not just our day-to-day lives, but our long-term success as well. If there's one thing I hope listeners take away from this, it's the understanding that they have the power to create a positive future, starting with how they speak to themselves.
Exactly. So, to all our listeners, remember, you have the power to change your future, one positive thought at a time. Keep practicing that positive self-talk, stay resilient, and keep moving toward your dreams with confidence. It's not always easy, but it's definitely worth it.
Yes, and don't forget, as you embark on your journey, be kind to yourself. Growth takes time, and every small step counts. Keep believing in yourself. You are capable of achieving amazing things.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope this episode has sparked some positive changes in the way you approach your goals and your future. Until next time, keep thinking positively, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Take care, everyone, and remember, your thoughts create your reality. See you next time.